Ever since he was a child, Elias Warren could hear thoughts, unfiltered, raw, and uninvited. It wasn't like voices in his head. It was more like background noise, a constant hum of people's inner dialogues. Secrets, lies, fears, guilt, and pain. Elias heard them all. The world had no masks for him. Every handshake came with a hidden motive. Every smile had a shadow behind it. At first, it had driven him nearly mad. But over time, he learned to tune it out, lower the volume of the world around him. He even found a way to use it. He became a therapist, a very successful one. Patients praised him for understanding them better than they understood themselves. If only they knew. But then came the anomaly. Her name was Mara. She walked into his clinic on a gray Tuesday afternoon, quiet, pale, and unreadable. And that was the problem. He couldn't hear her thoughts. Not even a whisper. It was silence. Absolute, chilling silence. The first time she sat across from him, Elias felt a gnawing sense of unease. She looked directly into his eyes and smiled. But there was something in that smile, controlled, sharp, as if it was built rather than felt. "Tell me about yourself," Elias asked, probing gently. "I don't remember much," she replied. "But I think something's wrong with me." The sentence echoed in Elias's mind. Not because of what she said, but because it was the only voice in the room. Her own thoughts absent. Hollow. A void. Every other patient walked in with a mental storm. But Mara brought silence like a blackout. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was deeply mentally ill. Maybe she was medicated. Maybe he was losing his gift. That idea terrified him more than anything. Over the next few sessions, Elias became obsessed. He tested her responses, asked loaded questions, tried triggering memories or emotions, anything that could break through whatever mental wall she had. But she remained detached. Even more disturbing was what followed after each session. The silence was spreading. Elias began to notice quiet spots around other people. A colleague at work, her thoughts would flicker out for seconds at a time. A man in the subway, completely mute for 5 minutes. The hum of humanity he had always lived with was fraying at the edges. Then came the nightmares. Each night, Elias dreamed of a dark room. He stood in the center while shadowy figures whispered in a language he couldn't understand. In the far corner stood Mara, watching, smiling. In one dream, she whispered directly into his ear, "You shouldn't have noticed me." By the 5th week, Elias's obsession with Mara had grown dangerous. He started tracking her after sessions. She had no family listed, no online presence, no digital footprint. She lived in a rundown apartment with no name on the door. Elias waited outside for hours once, just watching. And then something happened that shattered his understanding of reality. As he watched her building from across the street, a man walked by her in the hallway. Elias heard his thoughts clearly. "Hope she doesn't look at me, she gives me the creeps." Then Mara turned to the man, looked directly into his eyes. The man froze, then smiled, and walked away like nothing happened. His mind had gone quiet. Elias stumbled back in horror. She wasn't just immune to his ability. She was feeding on it, consuming the thoughts of others like some kind of psychic parasite. Back in his office, Elias pulled out his old journal, a place he had once used to cope with the overload of others' minds. Now he needed it more than ever. "She's silencing people. Not just blocking me. They're empty afterward. I can feel it. She's growing stronger." He couldn't tell anyone. Who would believe him? He resolved to end the sessions. Cut her off. But when she arrived the next day, she looked different. Her eyes were sharper. Her skin paler. Her movements more fluid, less human. She sat without a word. Elias tried to remain calm. "I think our work together is done," he said firmly. She smiled. "You think you're still deciding?" And for the first time, Elias felt a flicker in his own mind, like a cold finger pressed against the inside of his skull. She was inside. He stumbled back, eyes wide. What are you?" Mara tilted her head. "You hear thoughts. I create silence. You listen. I erase. We are opposite forces. You were born to be consumed by me." The walls around Elias seemed to shift. The room darkened. Time slowed. He tried to think, but the silence was deafening. Then nothing. They found Elias the next day, slumped in his office chair, alive but vacant. No one could explain it. No trauma, no brain damage, just gone. He stared at walls for hours, unmoving, unblinking. Silent. His patients stopped showing up. One by one, they disappeared. Not physically, but mentally. Their minds went quiet. Emotionless. Empty. Some said it was a mass psychotic break. Others suspected a gas leak. But no explanation stuck. Mara, of course, was never seen again. But if you walk by Elias's old office, you might notice the quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful but hunted. And sometimes, just sometimes, you might feel a presence behind your thoughts. Waiting, listening, and hungry.